Would you tell your mother? Hell no. Yo. Listen, if I told my mom, she would ask me for stuff like, and mind you, my mom is rich, but if I told her, hey, mom, I made 100 million, I won 100 million at the lottery, she would easily come and tell me to buy this for $1 million, that for $2 million, buy me those terrains, buy me this building, buy me those things, etc., etc. And I mean, it's hard for me to say no to my mom. So maybe I would say, hey, listen, I made a great business move. I made let's say I made 100 million, right? But I would tell my mom, hey, I made a great business move. I made like 6 million. So, like we say in Africa, in our Bantu tribes, you have to give a part of this to your parents. So here's 1 million for you, here's 1 million for dad, and I'm gonna give you another 1 million to share, or no, and here's another 1 million, but I'm gonna share it between all my brothers and sisters, and the rest of the 3 million, gonna buy myself a little house. I'm gonna buy a few things that I want, put some money in the bank account of my wife, put 500 in each of my kids' bank accounts for later, and that's it. I spent everything, and 95 million that is left, I'm investing everything. But I'm not telling her how much I made. I'm telling nobody how much I made, actually. Nobody. In reality, I'm telling nobody. I'm just gonna say, yeah, listen, things are good. You might see me on Club Shada talking like nothing happened. And maybe after a month or two, you might say, you might see that, oh, I have a new office, or you might see in a vlog that I have a new house. But I would just be like, yeah, things are moving, business, working hard, and I wouldn't change my thing. I would still come to my Club Shada. Maybe one day I would be Club Shada from a boat. You would be like, what? What? I mean, I would do Club Shada from a boat. It would not be something strange. You see what I mean? But nah, I'm telling nobody. Hell nah. It's too dangerous. Il n'y a pas de différence entre le gouvernement et les escrocs trop de taxes. Telling you. This is another reason why a lot of people come to Portugal. At least you can negotiate. Nice, good. DJing, producing, mixing. Oh, listen. Just like nothing happened. I'd be here chilling. I'd be here chilling, and you have to. Listen, I'm gonna tell you one thing. Money is something that you have to make sure that not only you are being able to handle it yourself, right? But you must also be able to make sure that you are handling it for the other people around you. I don't know if I told this story last time, I don't remember, but there was this guy who won the lottery. It's one of the videos that I was showing my wife. This guy won the lottery, and the first thing he said, like everybody said, is, we're gonna stay the same. And I think he won something like $150 million. And he said, hey, I'm gonna stay the same. my lifestyle is not gonna change. We're not gonna buy a big house. We're not gonna buy a Rolls Royce, whatever. We're just gonna be, and yeah, listen, we're gonna hire some accountants, a team of people, so they can tell us what to buy, how to do this, how to navigate taxes. We're gonna have a team of people, and then we'll take the decisions, right? And this guy, he actually he came out of prison, so it was already hard for him. And because in the US, once you came out of prison, it's kind of complicated to find a job, etc., etc. And so the first thing the guy does, because he's scared of new friends, he goes back with his ex. And the ex was a drug addict, but apparently she stopped. And yeah, he tell her, hey, listen, I want to be with somebody I love, da 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 da. I'm rich now. You want to come back with me? She says, of course, yes. And what happened? First thing they did was buy a huge house. Spent, I don't know, 10 million on a huge house, a huge mansion. Okay. Yeah, you still have 140 million. Well, you might have the money, but now that you have a house that costs 10 million, you're gonna need probably 50,000 every month or year. I don't know exactly how much. I don't have a house like that, but I see my mom's house. My mom's house always have 10 people working there. So it's Africa, it's different. But imagine in the US, if you have a house, you have to have people cleaning inside, outside, the walls, the lawn, doing this, the swimming pools, all that stuff. You're probably gonna have a chef, somebody who works with you. You're gonna have people work for you. So it might cost you 50,000 a month. I don't know, just because you have that house. So that's the first thing. Instead of making your money work for you, what they start doing was they start going crazy on stuff. They start buying like 3 Rolls Royces, a Ferrari, a Lamborghini for the girlfriend, and now they have friends that they want to, you have a house with 12 bedrooms, you want to put people in there, so they start inviting their friends from here and there. So of course their friends are not going to fly in economy, and their friends are not going to pay for their tickets. So what they do, they get a private jet to come and go, and every time they fly somebody, it costs 8,500, and they start going with 10 people. Always they have their group of people, and they take them everywhere. So every time they take the plane to go fetch their people, it's 85,000. And then, let's go to Bahamas, yay! Let's do parties, hey! And the girlfriend was a drug addict. So what she did, unlimited money, drugs, party, drugs, alcohol, boom. They went back in it, and she pulled him back in drugs. And after a certain point, because of drugs, because of spending like crazy, they spent the whole, I think she and him and whatever, they spent the whole money, and they finally found the guy dead in his own shit, inside of everything he had left, which was those places that you buy to put your furniture, and that's it. And that shit is crazy. But why? Because some people are not able to not be controlled by money, and not, once you have the money and you believe it's unlimited, you don't realize that it's limited. And when you are in my situation and you've already seen a lot of money come and go, but you understand how you understand where you could put your money if you had a lot. Listen, if I had $1 million, I knew exactly what to do with it. Some people, I'm gonna buy a house. Me, I don't know. I might make my $1 million work. I know that if I had 100 million, I know exactly where to place my 100 million so that it generates 100,000 per month. Yeah, more or less. I know how to do it. And some people, they don't know how to do it. Some people, if they have 100 million, they're going to say to themselves, I have 100 millions. Yeah. Me, if I have 100 million, I'm going to block my 100 million somewhere. And the interest of that 100 million is what I'm going to live with monthly. And I'm going to make sure, let's say, I'm not going to go financial, but if you place your 100 million in the right places, you can generate 150,000 per month, and you can live very, very, very well with 150,000. So what I would do, I would say to myself, okay, I make 150,000 a month, and I cannot spend more than that. Actually, I cannot spend more than 50,000 per month on everything, yeah, expenses, houses, whatever. I can only spend 50,000 a month, and the other 100 that is generated every month, I will invest a little bit of it in different things, or reinvest it so that I make more money as the time go. Maybe invest 50,000 every month, and the other 50,000, I make sure it goes to a bank account for my kids, and that every month, both my kids get 25,000 in their bank accounts. And then everything else, we can, and you know that you have a huge thing. And I would not go buy a house that costs 10 million. What? Am I crazy? No. If you make 150,000 a month from your investments, in a year, you can buy a house of $1.5 million. And if you go to the bank, and the bank knows that you have 100 million, they will buy the house for you and say, it's okay. You know how long you want to pay us? 3 years. Let's divide the million in. Every year I'm going to give you 350,000 or 300 and whatever thousand, 333,000 every year. So it means that if every month you make 150,000, you can take every month you take 50,000 and you give it back to the bank. And in about a year or 2 or 3 years, your money's back. You see what I mean? But those people, because they are, thank you so much, Shiren Desir. Wow. I'm investing. Wow, thank you so much. That's a lot of money. Thank you so much for the aid. How much is it in? I don't see nothing. 60 Canadian dollars. Thank you so much for your donation. Appreciate it. Thank you for your support. And you are $50 from removing Master Electronic from his throne. So yeah. And to me, the way I see it when it comes to money is that I know how I would feel because I know myself, and I understand. I've went through the last 25 years generating a ton of money as an artist and understanding how much tax I had to pay from the money I was generating, and also understanding how sometimes the you make a lot of money, and then at the end of sometimes you don't see that money. You see what I mean? Sometimes you hear and you're like, wait a minute, like, where's that money? Because you don't invest it because you're young, and then when you get older, you're like, wait a minute. Back in 2008, when it was the crisis of the subprimes, I made around 150,000 euros from copyright from LDS. After paying my taxes, I still had 100 and something. And at that time, I could buy an apartment in Miami because it was the crisis. I could buy an apartment in Miami or in New York but especially in Miami. I remember you could buy an apartment for $50,000. A 1-bedroom in Miami, $50,000. So that was like, because the euros went up so much that with €1 you had a $1.5. So with $10,000 with 10,000 euros you had $15,000. So at a point when the US was in the crisis and the housing market collapsed completely, you could find apartments in Miami and not in bad areas. You could find in South Beach, etc. You could find an apartment for $50,000, which was 35,000 euros, 37,000 euros. And I had 100 and something in my bank account. But I didn't have the mind of today, because that was like it was 2008. So that's 13 years ago or less. Yeah, 13 years ago. And I don't regret. I'm just like, okay, I see. Next time I have that money, I know exactly what I'm going to do, depending on where am I in the market, of course. Same thing for Bitcoins. I've known about Bitcoin since 2009. I was reading about it. I was watching YouTube videos about it back then, website about it. I was like, wow, super excited about it. I was trying to understand how to buy it, because at that same time, 2008, I had I made 100,000 from that album, the DS. But I still had the monies from my shows. I still had the copyrights and I still had money coming in from the rest of my activities. So that 100,000 euros that I had, I paid my taxes, and it stayed in my bank account. It stayed in my bank account probably until 2000. I mean, I spent every time I needed a little bit of something, buy a computer, buy something, but I didn't spend it. I didn't buy anything crazy. So that money lasted until 2014 probably. And I used it to invest, buy stuff, cameras, buy computers, buy whatever I needed for my businesses. But if I was back then with the mind that I have, listen, I would have bought 2 apartments in Miami that I would probably have resold today at 500,000, both of them, or maybe kept one for when I go to Miami. The rest of the time it would be Airbnb, and I would have a company there just handling the apartment for me, and I probably would have invested 10,000 in Bitcoins. But at that time, I'm not even the same person today. At that time, I was just like, and I was not seeing opportunities the way I see opportunities today. Today, I'm really a very financial, intellectually eyes open person. I understand finances. I understand how to make money. I understand how to invest money. Back then, no, I was still that guy. It was about making shows, making music, and music was the end all be all. And today, music is assets that I see music the same way as I see cryptos, the same way as I see stock. Music is money generating assets that make people enjoy art, and at the same time they generate money. So I don't create music for the same reasons, and I don't. The money I make from music, I invest 30% of it. Every time I make money, I invest 30% of it. So, but the question here is, if you make 100 If you make 100 millions from lottery or whatever, you know how you're gonna be, but you don't know if your wife is gonna just go crazy. You don't know. And you know how I know that you don't know? Because I've seen so many artists, right? I've seen so many artists that were talking so much beautiful things before being famous. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, I will do this. I will do. Listen, all of them, they all say the same thing when they are not famous. I'm not gonna change. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna have the same friends. Blah 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 blah. And soon as they get famous, soon as they have, and listen, when I'm talking about fame in the Zouk world, I'm not talking about making 100 million. I'm talking about doing shows for 800 euros every weekend. But if you didn't have that money, and all of a sudden you have that money, and all of a sudden everybody tell you, oh, you're so beautiful, you're the best, you're amazing, please fuck me, this, whatever. People lose whatever integrity that they thought they had. This is how it is, because you never know what fame will do to you until you're famous. Everything you say, everything you pretend that you're gonna be, everything you say, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna be that, you don't know until you become that person. When you become that person, this is when you know if your education was like this, like that, if you had any education, if all of a sudden the friends that have no money that you used to rock with, and now you pay them everything, you not only you will see if you still like them, or if you all one of us, maybe in 6 months you're tired of paying for everybody, or maybe if they will feel entitled for you to pay everything because, hey, we've been with you, we walk with you. And maybe they're gonna start going with you in places, and maybe they're gonna be loud, and you're gonna look at them like, yo, we are in a chic restaurant. Who cares? We have money. No, I have money, and you are. Why are you yelling? Why are you making all these noise? Like, you don't know how you're gonna react to all that, and you might realize that, okay, I moved to this level my whole life. Now I'm here, and my people are still here, and they don't act like if they were here, because it's you who is here. And maybe you will realize, wow, I might have to change friends. Or maybe you have friends who will understand your position is here now, and they're gonna be like, hey, listen, when you do all these shows, I want to be the person who comes with you. Hey, every time you make 1,000, maybe I can sell those shows for you, and every time you make 1,000, I make 200, and we go together. I make sure I protect you. I make sure I protect you from that, and you can trust me, and This is a person who'll be like, okay, listen, we're moving up together. But you don't know how these people are gonna be, and you don't know how you're gonna be. You might all of a sudden change. You might, listen, you don't know. And every time I tell this to people, no, I know. I'm going to be like this. I'm going to be like that. I'm like, I'm going to have integrity. Listen, we'll see when your album come out. When the album come out, people change. They go on tour. All of a sudden, people are yelling their names. People are crying like, oh my God, oh, you my hero. I love you so much. And fans sometimes, they're so emotional that they love you too much for you. Listen, it's just songs. It's just songs, and somebody who sings songs that you like. You don't have to love them. You love the songs. But because these songs might be part of something of your life, so the artist all of a sudden is part of your life, and then you're like, oh, I love you so much. And you hear nobody loved you that much. And all of a sudden, this might change you. And because people think, oh, I'm not going to change. You are going to change. The question is, are you going to change in a great way or not? It just it depends. Listen, me, when I was 18, I had all the girls that I wanted. So when I got famous at 24, I continue having all the girls that I wanted. So it didn't change nothing for me. When I was 18, my parents were rich. So when I got my own money, my parents were still richer than me. And my parents are still richer than me today. So yeah, it's just, okay, I have my own money. But when I go to my mother's house, like my mother today told me, when she told me today, she was like, so yeah, how are you doing, like with the kids in your small house? I was like, Mom, I have 100 meters square. And she was like, yeah, it's a small house. She said, la big cock. And why? My mom only lived ever since she's been 17. She never lived in less than 300 or 400 meters square. Because she got married to my dad, who was rich. And she made my dad richer, and then she started investing, and now she has like 2, 3, 4 houses in Congo, terrains, lands, apartments, shopping center, all that stuff. And houses in France, houses here. She wants to buy one in Portugal. So we don't have the same life. But for me, when I got my money, I was proud to have my money, but I could not, it was not something different. My life didn't change in terms of, oh my God, I went from the streets to being rich. And in a way, it helped me stay grounded. And same thing, the fact that I was already dating models and beautiful girls, like ever since I started dating. When I got famous, I was still getting the models and the beautiful girls, and yeah, it was nothing special for me. All of a sudden, I had a lot of choice in a lot of countries, but I was already like, no, yes, you, not you. But I was already like that before. When some people, before being famous, they have nothing, and they cannot date nobody. They don't have access to some girls, and all of a sudden they're famous, and they can have everybody, or they believe because they're famous, and all of a sudden they want everything. They want the nice girls, the less nice girls, the no nice girls, the ugly girls, the this, the that. They want everything because they feel like it's a revenge on life, and then now they get in the clubs for free, and it just explodes in their heads. And because I've seen that in the music industry, I've realized that people have no idea how they're gonna react and how they're gonna move when they get to a certain level that I've experienced since I was born. I probably took the plane 100 times minimum, maybe 200 times in my life since I was born. I've been in so many different countries before traveling as Kaysha, just as the son of my parents. I traveled a lot, etc., etc. I've seen money. I've seen having money, not having money, having money. I've seen big houses. I've seen all types of Mercedes and stuff from my parents. Meaning that I'm not impressed by money. Of course, I never had $1 million in my bank account, but I've seen $1 million. Like years after years, if you make 100 every year, like I've had not $1 million at once, but I've seen. If I count all the money I had from the beginning of my life, I probably had $1 million already. But me, I invest, money comes, money goes and stuff. So I wouldn't say that if I had 10 million or 100 million at once in my bank account, I cannot say I'm not gonna change. Of course I'm gonna change. Of course I'm gonna go in different places. Of course I'm gonna take my wife and my kids in places. Of course, every time I wanna have some time for us, it's gonna be possible. Of course I'm gonna say, hey, listen, don't pack your bags, let's go. What? Let's just go and take the kids and the wife to Thailand or to Zanzibar for a week, just like that, because I decided, yeah, those things, you can do them and still feel responsible because you're gonna use, you know the money you're gonna use. So of course I'm gonna change my lifestyle. I'm gonna change some things. I'm gonna take a bigger place because, of course, 100 meters square. When you have no kids, you're single, is different than when you have a wife, 2 kids, and the brothers and sisters of wife, etc. You see what I mean? You're gonna use the tool that is money. You see what I mean? You're gonna use that exactly. It's tools. So you're gonna use those tools to your advantage, but smart. But it doesn't mean that you know how the people around you will react. Because listen, when you are famous, the people around you, they react strange. Some of them, they start thinking they're famous. So imagine you have 100 million and you tell your wife, and she knows that, yeah, we have 100 million. And she goes crazy. She starts talking bad to her friends. Or listen, we don't know. People might go crazy. People might, you see what I mean? So sometimes just to protect the people, you just say nothing. I like how the music was synchronized to mine. You say nothing and you just elevate people, and you teach them how to handle this life. And yeah,